Road Signs, Chapter 15, Little Hands of Hope. My life. Or did I dream of you? Sergei Yesenin. A rat recognized me. No one recognized me. Only the rat. Running up, it lifted its muzzle and began to look into my eyes. Then it stood up on its hind legs and put its front paws on the edge of my high boot. What do you say? I asked it. The rat squeaked in response and sighed. Damn, it really sighed. It amazed me. Although after all the tales about delta mutations, I'm not surprised by anything. What do you think? Are they waiting for me? I asked my gray comrade. The rat squeaked again in response, and standing up on all fours again, trotted away. But no, it kept looking back, as if calling me to follow it. And I set off with a determined step, throwing my duffel bag over my back and hammering my heels into the concrete as if I were hammering nails into it. In the living area, among the cubicles where the seamstresses sat, I found the place where Katya lived. But there, from behind the door of a familiar pencil case, a completely unfamiliar woman looked at me. She looked at me with fear, as if I were a visitor from the other world. And, in fact, I was one, having come from another world. I simply came from the light, where the light is natural. The rat led me further and further until I entered a dead end. The plastic curtain rustled, and I saw a familiar back. But then, I must admit, I froze. I was not looking at Katya, who was standing there, not yet seeing me, but at another face, looking out from behind her back. Two dark eyes looked at me attentively and calmly, without changing their expression. Katya was holding a 1-year-old child in her arms, who was peering at a person unknown to him. Finally, she turned around, and we stood silently for a few more moments. I stepped forward, and we hugged. It was a strange, 3-person hug. We pressed ourselves against each other, simultaneously afraid of hurting the child. I understood everything at once, without resorting to any medical arithmetic. I knew everything from dreams, from their volatile substance, and therefore Katya did not need to explain anything to me. I even immediately understood that it was a girl, although in 20 years of being underground, I had seen very few infants. Katya looked at me calmly. "A girl is good," I said, a phrase I had read somewhere. "A girl is for peace." The girl was amazingly similar to me. A gnome. Simply a miracle. She was not like anyone else, not like the people I had seen in different places, not like the monsters and freaks, of which there were also many on my way. But she was definitely not a human being, but a being of some angelic rank. The fact that the daughter was called Nadezhda was quite predictable. I immediately felt that she could not have been called anything else. Actually, this was a good motive for living and dying. We sat next to the sleeping child and spoke very quietly. So, with a barely audible rustle underground, animals make their way along their passages. So the underground water babbles in the tunnels. That's how the words flowed between us. We still needed to learn a lot about each other, but this could only be done later, in days, weeks, and months. The gray rat looked at us with its black, beady eyes, as if to say, I knew all this, and what I didn't know, I assumed, and therefore I won't interfere. The rat looked from one speaker to the other, and moved its whiskers in time with the speeches. Probably several hours passed. The girl woke up. She was fed, and I said that, one way or another, we would not live here. "What do you mean?" asked Katya. "It's very simple. The metro is the cradle of new humanity, but it cannot live in the cradle forever. I understood that I would think about this idea for a long time, but life would not remain the same. I would still go up again and again, so that I could get out of underground Moscow. I need to go to the light. That's what. Katya and I lay on a narrow bunk and were silent. Behind the thin plywood door, I heard the voice of Baba Toma. She was arguing with someone, but you could hear her voice gradually softening. Finally, she knocked on our thin partition. "Sasha, Sasha, are you here? Are you here? Huh? Have I disturbed you? A man from Voikovskaya has come to see you, says he is a relative." The plywood door opened slowly, banging its handle against the wall. A man a head shorter than me, almost an old man, but holding himself upright, stepped towards me. An elderly man with a scar on his forehead and wrinkles around his eyes. I looked at him, gradually guessing what was going on. I had absolutely no idea what to ask or say. His face was calm, but I noticed some muscle in his neck twitching. The stupidest thing I could think. I thought, why isn't he wearing a flight jacket? After all, without a flight jacket, it's wrong. No one will recognize him without a flight jacket, or at least a cap, on the band of which there should be wings. I didn't recognize him right away, and I've been preparing for this for 20 years. My father took another step and said simply, "Well, hello, Sasha.